Hi everyone, today PhoneArena is going to be taking a little bit of a comparison look between the Motorola DROID Ultra and the Samsung Galaxy S4. Both of these are currently available from Verizon Wireless for $200 with a 2-year contract. There's some similarities and differences here between the two devices that we're going to be looking at in this video, but each device has their own separate videos and reviews, so you might want to check those out as well. As far as the overall design and appearance between the two devices, the DROID Ultra is using the Kevlar construction, which gives it a nice durable feel, though we're not real fond of this shiny exterior on the back. It's kind of a fingerprint magnet, shows any kind of dust or smudges. Would much prefer the soft touch coating that's actually on the DROID Max. Meanwhile, the Galaxy S4 is using the plastic polymer construction similar to the Galaxy S3. As you can tell, a little bit of a size difference between the two devices. The Galaxy S4 is slightly smaller in height and width, though the DROID Ultra is the thinnest between the two. As far as the weight, it's pretty equal. On the DROID Ultra and the Galaxy S4, you have the front cameras above the display and the capacitive buttons below the display, so they're no longer using any on-screen buttons on the DROID Ultra. On the back of the DROID Ultra, you have a 10 megapixel camera with LED flash. These pinhole slots here is the speaker. Up on top is a 3.5 millimeter headset jack, volume rocker, and power key on the right with USB port on the bottom. The Galaxy S4 has the volume rocker up here on the left, 3.5 millimeter headset jack on the top, and power key here on the right with USB port on the bottom, though it does actually have the physical home key there underneath the display. As far as appearance, it's pretty much a personal preference here. Like we said, the DROID Ultra with the Kevlar construction does give it a little bit extra layer of durability that is missing from the Galaxy S4, but since they're both kind of slippery, they both actually have a bit of a plasticky feel to them, though the DROID Ultra is actually using Kevlar. Both the Motorola DROID Ultra and the Samsung Galaxy S4 are sporting a 5-inch Super AMOLED display. Because of that, images are going to be fully saturated with nice vivid color to them. The key difference here is that the DROID Ultra is using a 720p display and the Galaxy S4 is a 1080p full HD display. Because of that, text and images are definitely going to look sharper and clearer on the Galaxy S4. That's basically because of the higher display. It's got an actual pixel per inch count of 441, while the DROID Ultra has a lower pixel per inch count of 294. Might not show up well here on the video, but in person you can definitely see sharper and clearer text on the Galaxy S4, especially when viewing web pages. Both the Motorola DROID Ultra and Samsung Galaxy S4 come running Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean. However, there are some differences. First, taking a look at the Motorola DROID Ultra, have a total of 5 home screens here on the device. It's pretty close to stock Android as you can get. Also, the apps drawer and widget selection, again, pretty close to stock Android. The Samsung Galaxy S4 can actually have up to a total of 7 home screens. Also, the app drawer and widget selection is a little bit more involved as well. Samsung actually puts a lot more extra widgets on their device, even though both are still running Android Jelly Bean. Motorola does include a few extra features on the DROID Ultra, similar to what we've seen on the Moto X. The first one is the active notifications. When the screen's off, all you have to do is nudge the device, and only the center part of the screen will turn on to show the current date and time. Also, a few Other options on here is the Droid Zap, which you can share files, pictures and videos between phone, touchless controls, which is basically a voice recognition for Google Now experience. There's also on the Samsung Galaxy S4 certain features that Samsung includes. One of these is the Air View and Air Gestures, as well as the smart screen with the smart stay and rotation, as well as the S Beam and S Health. So both of these phones do have specific software features that are exclusive to both of those. The Droid Ultra is using Motorola's new X8 processor. It's basically a modified Snapdragon S4 processor, since it has 1.7 gigahertz dual core, 4 applications, as well as 400 megahertz quad core graphics processor. Also included a natural language processing core and contextual computing core. Meanwhile, the Samsung Galaxy S4 has a standard 1.9 gigahertz quad core Snapdragon 600 processor. Now, that's a lot of specs to try to comprehend, but basically what it boils down to is both phones are pretty fast, and the only way you're really going to notice any kind of a difference is when running a benchmark program. Now, when running Quadrant or Antutu, both the Galaxy S4 is going to have higher benchmark numbers. That's because those two benchmark programs are making use more of the quad-core processor on the Galaxy S4 over the dual-core part on the Droid Ultra. But when running graphic benchmarks such as a GL benchmark, the Droid Ultra is actually going to produce higher scores because of the quad-core GPU on it. But still in all, in real-world use, both devices are pretty quick, and you're really not going to notice much of a difference between them. Both the Motorola DROID Ultra and the Samsung Galaxy S4 include the Google Chrome browser, though there's also the standard Samsung default browser on the Galaxy S4 as well. We have Chrome loaded up on both devices, and as you can see, the web browsing experience is nearly identical between them. Pinch to zoom and scrolling work pretty identical. Real no difference there as far as the actual web browsing experience. However, since the Galaxy S4 does come with the higher resolution 1080p display, small text is going to look nice and sharper on the Galaxy S4, where on the Droid Ultra you may see a little bit of jagged edges around smaller text. It's not that bad, it's not that noticeable, but if you want the higher resolution text and images, you're definitely going to notice it on the Galaxy S4. Making use of Verizon's 4G LTE data network, both the Motorola DROID Ultra and Samsung Galaxy S4 are capable of pretty fast download and upload speeds. We recently ran the speedtest.net app. As you can see, both devices got right around 25 megabits per second for the download and pretty close to 13 megabits per second on the upload. So both devices are pretty equally fast when connecting to Verizon's 4G data network. Also supported is Wi-Fi 802.11a, B, G, and N at both the 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz band, Bluetooth 4.0, and NFC. Both smartphones are also global roaming capable, which means you can use them in Edge and GSM networks in other countries. The camera interface is another difference here between the two devices. The Droid Ultra up here on the top, you actually have to swipe across the screen, brings up a few options here over on the right hand side for things such as high dynamic range, flash, tap to focus, slow motion recording, geo-tagging. Meanwhile, on the Galaxy S4, there's a lot more here that you can choose from. There's about a dozen different shooting modes you can choose from, as well as different visual effects on there. Also, basic options such as the flash mode and resolution. Getting to the settings here, you can change the resolution size, burst shot, face detection, light metering, ISO, anti-shake, GPS tag, exposure value, voice control. So The Galaxy S4 does provide a lot more choices as far as taking pictures, different options and settings you can choose from. The Droid Ultra includes Motorola's new 10 megapixel clear pixel camera. Basically what that does is instead of just regular red, green, blue pixels, it also includes a clear pixel, and this is supposed to allow up to 75% more light. Meanwhile, the Galaxy S4 is a 13 megapixel standard RGB camera sensor. Definitely did notice some differences here. Images taken outside on the Droid Ultra are definitely a lot brighter, but at times it's almost too bright. The colors, we noticed, have a tendency to look washed out, while on the Galaxy S4 colors are a little bit more natural and lifelike. As we scroll through our pictures here, you can definitely see some differences here between the color reproduction between the two devices. When going for indoor shots, the Galaxy S4 and the Motorola DROID Ultra are pretty equal. As long as there's plenty light for indoor shots, images are going to look pretty close to the same. The flash on both is also somewhat good. The DROID Ultra and the Galaxy S4 do produce sort of their own hue, sort of a bluish green when using the flash. As far as recording videos, both can do 1080p at 30 frames per second. Neither are really super impressive. The Galaxy S4 does produce a little bit quality better video than the DROID Ultra, but still in all, they're both pretty equal when it comes to the video recording. Though for taking pictures, the Galaxy S4 does seem to do better, especially when taken outside. One area that Motorola always seems to do better than the competition is in regards to call quality, and that's pretty much the same thing here. Calls that we made on the DROID Ultra sound pretty realistic and natural on both ends of the conversation, while the Samsung Galaxy S4 was a little bit more robotic tone sounding, a little bit more computerized. So you can notice a bit of a difference here between the call quality on both devices. It's not like it's terribly bad on the Galaxy S4, but you are going to have definitely a bit more natural sounding voice quality on the DROID Ultra. As far as the signal reception is concerned, both devices are pretty equal on that point. I was able to get a negative 98 decibels for voice and negative 101 decibels for the call quality. The included battery on the DROID Ultra is a 2130 milliamp. It's non-removable. Meanwhile, the Galaxy S4 is a larger 2600 milliamp battery. Because of that, the DROID Ultra is able to provide us up to about 13 hours of continuous talk time on a full charge, while the Galaxy S4 is a little bit longer at about 15 hours of talk time on a full charge. But for mixed usage, both devices are going to get you about 1.5 to 2 days. The key advantage here is that the Galaxy S4, you can swap out the battery or even get an extended battery. So if you're a heavy talker, you do have that option, while the DROID Ultra, it's the internal battery, no way to add another one or get a larger battery. There is the DROID Max, which is an option as well. It's a $100 price over the DROID Ultra, but it does include a massive 3500 milliamp battery. So when it comes right down to it, both devices are really manufactured and targeted for different audiences. The DROID Ultra is, like we said, pretty close to stock Android, so if you want a stock Android type of phone, the DROID Ultra is pretty much for you. We like the Kevlar construction, though we're not really fond of the fingerprint magnet here on the back of the device. Also, you have the Motorola extra features such as the active display, touchless controls, and Droid Zap. The call quality is really good on the device, and since it's out of Kevlar, it's definitely durable. One thing that we're not really fond of is this year Motorola loses the micro SD memory card slot, which limits you to 16 gigabytes of internal memory, and almost half of that is used out of the box. So you're pretty much anywhere between 8 to 9 gigabytes of available memory. Meanwhile, the Samsung Galaxy S4, it's a little bit more compact, a little bit easier to hold with the rounded edges. Both of them have the 5-inch Super AMOLED display, but the Galaxy S4 is going to be a little bit sharper and clearer since it's the higher resolution at 1080p versus 720p on the Droid Ultra. Also, the Galaxy S4 comes with the standard quad-core Snapdragon 600 processor, while the Motorola is using their X8. No real major difference there between the processors. Voice quality on the Galaxy S4, not quite as good as the Droid Ultra, but we do like the fact that it does have the removable battery, also does come with 16 gigabytes of internal memory, but also has a micro SD card slot, which means you can put up to a 64 gigabyte memory card in there, and also has some of those applications to it, such as the S-Health and S-Beam and the Air Gesture. So both devices come in at the $199 price point with a Verizon 2-year contract. So it's pretty much a personal decision as to which one of these devices you like, either the Motorola DROID Ultra or the Galaxy S4. Both are pretty good. The only thing that would have made the Droid Ultra better would be the 1080p display, and if it would have come with a micro SD card slot, since those are two features that the Galaxy S4 definitely has beat over the Droid Ultra. So if you want to find out more information about these two smartphones, check out our website at PhoneArena.com.